Welcome to e-learning session, Beverage Knowledge. Today's session will talk about coffee. What are we going to learn today? First, definition. What is coffee? We are going to learn its origin, the different variety of coffee, how does coffee is produced, the different type of coffee served in a restaurant, and finally, the different form of coffee available in F&B. Did you know coffee is one of the most famous beverages drunk all around the world? What is coffee? Coffee is a brewed drink prepared from roasted coffee beans, which are the seeds of berries from the coffee plant. Did you ever wonder why coffee keeps you awake? Is it due to caffeine? But what is caffeine? Caffeine is one of the main components of coffee. Caffeine is a body stimulant helping to be awake. It's also used in other products such as tea, soda, and some energy drinks. Now, let's talk about the origin of coffee. Where does coffee come from? Is it said that coffee comes from Ethiopia in Africa around 14 centuries ago, which is when coffee was brought to the North Africa and Europe by the Moroccans. Where is coffee produced? Coffee is only produced between Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of the Capricorn in hot equatorial climates, as shown in the map. What are the countries producing coffee? There is 5 main countries producing coffee in the world. The first one is Brazil, Vietnam, Indonesia, Ethiopia, and Colombia. What are the main varieties of coffee bean? Coffee is produced from the pits of the coffee cherries, which means that not the whole bean is used creating the coffee, but only the inside parts called the pit. Coffee cherries are harvested from coffee trees. The pits then are removed and processed. There are 2 main varieties of coffee. The first one, and the most famous, Arabica, which represents 70% of the world production of coffee, and the second one, called Robusta, representing 30% of the world's production. Now, how helping our guests to choose between these 2 varieties? Is it quite simple since both of the main varieties are generally different? One, Arabica, is softer, more flavorful, a little bit more fruity and sour, while Robusta has a bitter taste. It's more powerful and spicy and contains more caffeine. Now let's talk about the making process. How do we make coffee? There are 6 main steps while creating and producing coffee. Harvesting, fermenting the coffee bean, the milling process, following by the roasting process, the testing parts, and finally grinding. Step 1. Harvesting. There is 2 main methods of harvesting. The first one, strip-picked, will be using machine to collect all coffee fruits from the coffee tree at once, and the selective picked, which will focus on collecting only ripe coffee fruits using hand. Step 2. Fermentation. Coffee beans are washed in water in a way to ferment coffee bean. Step 3. Milling, which consists of removing the skin, called the husk of the coffee bean. Then, evaluation of the size, the weight, and the color of each coffee bean is individually made to keep only the pure one. Step 4. Roasting. Coffee beans are then roasted in order to turn them into aromatic beans. The degree of roasting will define the character of the coffee. Next step, testing. Coffee beans are tested to check aromas, flavors, and bitterness. Last step, grinding. Coffee beans are then grinded to be mixed with water. What are the main types of coffee served in F&B? Before going further, it's important to differentiate milk foam and steam foam. Foam milk will create body and thickness since here it's added while warm the milk, while steam milk helps to develop texture and flavor. The first coffee we are going to see is the espresso. which consists of 1 shot of coffee. The Americano, consisting of 1 shot of coffee and the addition of hot water on the top. The coffee latte, which is 1 shot of espresso, steamed milk, and a little bit of milk foam on the top. The cappuccino, quite similar, 1 shot of espresso, steamed milk, and a bigger proportion of milk foam with an addition of cacao powder on the top. The flat white originated from Australia, which consists of 1 shot of espresso and an addition of steamed milk. The last one, cafe mocha, which is a shot of espresso, chocolate syrup, an addition of steamed milk and whipped cream. Finally, the different coffee format. Is there different coffee product in F&B? The answer is yes, plenty of different form can be found. Wall bean. It's the wall bean of the coffee that need to be grinded before usage. We can find grind coffee. It's pre-grinded coffee bean, can be used in a portafilter to make coffee. The granules coffee can be used and mixed straight with water for consumption. The pre-mixed one, already prepared coffee that usually is drank cold. The pod, used in a specific coffee machine. Instant coffee, which is coffee grinded, sugar, and dehydrated milk powder. The session is now over. Thank you very much for following. I hope it was explanative and informative enough for you. See you for new knowledge.